Hi, this presentation is on my final project in which I did an assessment of my Health 430 class to see if it was aligned with national responsibilities for health educators. The reason I chose this project is because my Health 430 class is supposed to review all the national standards for my students, prepare them for national certification, and prepare them for entry into their internship and to the field of health education. So a brief literature review, just so everyone has a background. In the second half of the 20th century is when health education was seen as a separate field requiring specifically trained professionals. Prior to that, it was thought that anybody could teach health education. So at that point in time, health education was identified as a separate field, and public health and health education programs were actually instituted in universities and colleges. In the mid to late 1980s, our national certification exam was initiated. And with that national certification came a role delineation project, and from that came our 7 responsibilities. Most teacher training and health career programs are typically required to go through an accreditation process. And there are several things that happen in accreditation. One of those is proving the success of the program. And there are several ways that programming can show success, such as employment or surveying employers to see if they're happy with the graduates, or surveying the graduates. Another way to measure success is through passing national certification exams. Because health education has a national certification exam, it becomes important that our program and courses align with those national standards. The following authors listed are very important people in the field of health education today, and they've done some work on quality assurance, and they're currently still looking at health education standards and how to improve the quality of all health education or public health programs so that when people pass the certification exam, they're coming from quality programming, and employers know what the skill level and knowledge base level is of an entry-level health educator. In our national responsibilities, there are 7. 6 of those are skill-based and only 1 is knowledge-based. This is important because if our curriculum is designed to be skill-based, there are suggestions in the literature that then our testing and activities and assessments should all be slightly different than if the coursework were knowledge-based. Some of the information from that research, the first one listed is Newhouse, and in 2011 he looked at IT training for students, and he compared e-portfolios and teacher-made exams to determine the skill level of the students, and he found that e-portfolios had better construct and content validity, but the tests were much more easily managed and better aligned with high-stakes testing that occurs in today's educational fields. Hackerai and others looked at health education skill-based and pedagogically based classes and found that they actually promote critical thinking and reflection, and they felt that it was important to introduce teachers to those types of courses earlier in their training so that they learn to think critically and reflect more at an earlier point in their instructional career. And that's important also for my course because it's skill-based and pedagogically based. I need to review the activities and assessments to make sure they are promoting critical thinking and reflection. And the last piece of literature listed is from a report that examines different types of technology that were used in health professional trainings, and they were designed to improve critical thinking. and actively engage the students in their training or programs. One of them was using Twitter to improve critical thinking and reflection. Another one was something called VoiceThread, which is similar to the product that I'm using to present the lecture, my presentation. These are the 7 responsibilities for National Certification for Health Educators. There's 7 responsibilities, 34 competencies, and 162 sub-competencies for health educators. And if you look closely, you will see that number 6 is based on content-driven skills, and the other 6, 1 through 5 and 7, are based on skills. So the other ones are being able to assess needs and capacity of a community, to be able to plan and implement a health education program designed to alter behaviors and improve quality of life. We need to be able to evaluate the programs and manage the programs, and we need to be able to communicate and promote the programs and advocate for the programs in the profession. So as you can see, only one of these is content-based, and that's important also because my course is not content-based that I'm assessing. The course I'm assessing is really skill-driven. So these are the methods that I'm going to use. I'm going to use a course mapping tool similar to what we've talked about in class. In fact, I'm going to be using several course mapping tools. The first one, which I'll share in another slide, will take the 7 national responsibilities and align them to the 12 course objectives. The other piece that I'm going to be completing is taking the course objectives on a separate mapping tool and making sure they align with the course assessments. And finally, I'll be taking a look at the activities in the course to see if they align with the course objectives and the assessments. So those are the 3 main steps, the 3 parts of the methods that I'm going to use to complete my assessment project. My work plan includes from now until August. The first stage is going to be aligning the national responsibilities to objectives and the objectives to assessments. I have begun that, and I'll continue that through the end of January. I also ask my students every semester for their feedback. It's qualitative feedback on how well we do at each of the 7 responsibilities. I always read them and reflect on them, but I'm going to have to develop a tool to gather that data into a format that's easy to refer. In the spring, I'm hoping to align activities with assessments, and I'm choosing to wait until the spring because the activities and the assessments are going to change somewhat in the spring semester, and so I want to use those future ideas rather than the past ones. In the summer of 2018, I'm going to complete the process again, but using InTask standards. And then the goal for me is that by the end of August 2018, Health 430 will be a course that's fully aligned with the health education national responsibilities from NCHEC and the education guidelines from InTask. So this is a copy of one of the forms that I've started. In my paper, it actually shows highlighting of what matches what. This is the second page of the course alignment tool. Going across the top are areas 5, 6, and 7, and going down the left in rows are the 12 objectives to the course. And there's another one of these for the first 4, and there's an objective and assessment alignment tool that's also in my assignment, and there are some other tools that have yet to be developed. So just in summary, I chose this project because my Health 430 class is supposed to help students prepare to enter as an entry-level health educator, and it's also supposed to help prepare them for the national certification exam. So it's very important to assess how well aligned the course objectives, assessments, and activities are with the 7 national standards that are tested on the NCHEC entry-level exam for certified health education specialists. These next 2 slides are just a list of the references that I used for this presentation and for my paper. Thank you very much, and that's the end of my presentation.